right, what's up everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today we've got a great topic for you guys, or great topics I should say. But before we get into that, please make sure you hit that like button and also subscribe if you are someone new, and click that notification bell to get my videos first. And of course, sorry for any bad audio or background noise as I'm still on my little vacation break, but I will be coming back to full time by the end of the month or so. So thank you guys for your patience, and let's go ahead and get into this here because we've got some more Metroid Dread. I'm beginning to sound like a broken record here, but that's okay. This is a broken record that everybody here should love because this is something that I talked about before. I'm sure many of you guys have heard or at least seen my sales analysis videos that I've made on the channel. A lot of you guys have been watching them, and it continues here with Metroid Dread. We will not take the foot off of the pedal here. We'll continue talking about this because this is big news, and this is exactly what I was saying was going to happen with this game and the Nintendo Switch effect. We are now seeing it in actual sales, not with numbers because the UK doesn't give numbers, which is very unfortunate, but with positioning and how I stated with the Nintendo Switch, you will have games that sell better than what it did previously. Its previous best, it will do better than that for a lot of the franchises, from the biggest franchises like Mario and Zelda all the way down to the smaller franchises like Xenoblade Chronicles and Fire Emblem. So let's go ahead and get into this news here. Christopher Dring over there, the UK sales guy, has stated this about Metroid Dread's debut sales in the UK. Metroid Dread is the biggest launch for the franchise in UK chart history, beating Metroid Prime 3 Corruption on the Wii by a good margin, and this is without digital downloads. And we're going to go ahead and get into that digital sales in just a bit because this is very significant because of the positioning of Metroid Dread on the eShop in various different regions. So it's very good for that. Now, here's the thing though, guys, don't go too crazy with this because the sales in the UK were underneath Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, Monster Rise, and new Pokemon Snap. But all of those are major and bigger franchises for Nintendo, with Monster Hunter, with Pokemon, with Mario, obviously Zelda, all that. So that's different. Nintendo doesn't own Monster Hunter, but it was an exclusive, console exclusive for them for a good time, coming to PC later next year. So that's the thing here with this, guys. This is big because that's what I was saying that Metroid was going to do. Metroid was going to be the biggest launch for the franchise, and it wasn't just going to be by a little bit, it was going to be by a lot. And we're seeing that here with Metroid Dread compared to Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. It beat it out by a lot, not even counting digital. So very good to see that, and I would expect that to be replicated across the board in many different regions, not just in the UK, but also in the US and in other regions as well. I think this is going to be a very good launch for Metroid Dread, as I had stated multiple times. Now, getting into the next bit here, that kind of amplifies why this is so good, because we're just talking about boxed retail copies. Now, shout outs to Israel. I think I maybe said her name wrong on Twitter, but shout outs to you. She actually put together with a list of her people that she works with on Twitter to gather up all of the position eShop charts for how the games are doing. This was a thread showing that Metroid Dread in the pre-orders wise wasn't so high up at first, but now we fast forward to this point and Metroid Dread is doing absolutely phenomenal. Now here's the list, guys, when it comes to the eShop charts of Metroid Dread, how it's doing now that the game is out. It's been out for a few days now. Canada, #1. France, #1. Germany, #1. Japan, #1. Mexico, #1. Spain, #1. UK, #1. USA, #1. So big stuff there. eShop charts, Metroid Dread is killing it. We already know on Amazon, I covered how it's #1 on there as well. Nintendo Switch OLED, that's been doing spectacular in many different regions. So I think it's safe to say at this point, we can just kind of put together everything. The biggest launch in the UK, not including digital, now #1 in the UK on the eShop charts as well. You also look at it #1 on Amazon before it launched, also after it launched, also #1. All different stuff right here with the eShop. I mean, it's pretty clear that this game is going to do better than the previous Metroid games, unless it absolutely falls off of a cliff before the holiday, which it won't, as we all know that people buy games, Nintendo games, have more of a long build to them in terms of evergreen status, even for the games that don't sell as well at the launch, like Metroid Dread is sold. They still continue to pick up sales later on, like a Fire Emblem or like an Astral Chain, for example. And I think Metroid Dread is going to be bigger than both of those games based on what we've seen so far. So very good to see this. Metroid Dread is killing it on the eShop. It is killing it in the box retail compared to what it did before. So far in the UK, we know here in the US, that's the Amazon sales charts. We know that game is doing well there. Obviously, the UK is nowhere near the size of the US. Nintendo Switch games don't sell as well in the UK as it does in other regions. So for example, like Japan or the US, it does better. So to see that it's doing this good compared to what it did before with its previous best with Metroid Prime is already a very good sign for other regions as well that usually do better numbers because there's a bigger install base. But one more thing before I kind of get to the next topic here, that's the whole point with Metroid Dread doing so well. It's the install base. The install base is driving the sales of the platform because it's not going to sell as much as a Mario or Zelda, but it doesn't need to. What we need is a large install base of people to try the game out. The more consumers, the better it can do. And that's what you're seeing with Metroid Dread. So many people have said, this is my first time playing a Metroid game. I'm picking it up for the first time. You're not going to get that if you're on an install base like the Wii U. You're not going to get that even on an install base like the Nintendo 3DS, like a 70 million or so. You're not going to always get that. But with the install base and the momentum of a Switch, the Switch effect, you're going to get that. You're going to get a lot more people trying it out that didn't try it before. So very good to see, very happy with that. Once again, I will be covering this all the way through till Nintendo starts talking about the sales and where we see it. So very good. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the next topic here, we have some more clarification on Pokemon Legends Arecus and how the structure of the game is going to be with the open world, or lack thereof, I should say. It's more of like open-ended areas like you would see in different types of games that Nintendo's done, like a Xenoblade Chronicles 2, for example, or even like a Monster Hunter, for example, as well. And the Pokemon Company actually came out and clarified this because people weren't sure, myself included, if it was going to be an open world game or if it was going to be more of a open-ended game with big areas that you can go to one by one. But I was wrong on this because on a live stream that I did have, I did kind of go in saying, no, it's going to be open world based on what we saw so far. I felt it was going to be that way. And if you look at the gameplay, it still looks like there's going to be huge open-ended areas to simulate that open world type of style game, like a Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but it's not going to be exactly structured like a Xenoblade Chronicles X or like a Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, for example. So it is going to be more like a Monster Hunter or Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and Monster Hunter, it kind of focusing in on that because it has a hub area that you go to, which is the main city that you're in. So let's go ahead and get into the full statement from the Pokemon Company on this one. Then we'll talk a little bit more about the reaction that some fans have as well. So in Pokemon Legends Arecus, Village will serve as the base of surveying missions. After receiving an assignment or a request and preparing for the next excursion, players will set out from the village to study one of the various open areas of the Hisu region. After they finish the survey work, players will need to return once more to prepare their next task. We look forward to sharing more information about exploring the Hisu region soon. So there you go with that. There is big open-ended areas, but it's not exactly all interconnecting in open world. There's the mission structure where you go out into there and then you return back. So very much like a Monster Hunter, for example. Now, here's the thing. Some fans were a little bit upset with that because they were expecting a full open world type of game. And maybe they think that that creates a better style of game than having a game like a Monster Hunter where you go back to a base hub city after you receive a mission, whatever the case is. So I think it's more based off of your own preference. But once again, I do want to mention that I was wrong on that one myself. I thought it was going to be more of mission based, and you can kind of go out and come back and kind of do what you want, and then like you have like your whole mission list and you can just kind of tackle them in the order that you want. But that's not going to be the case here with this one. Although the game is still going to be open-ended, you're still going to be able to go where you want to within that mission, collect, cover Pokemon, do whatever you need to do, or collect new Pokemon, do what you need to do in those open-ended areas. So it's definitely going to simulate that feel of an open-ended or open world game, kind of like Xenoblade Chronicles did, or even sometimes to a degree Monster Hunter. But I do feel that if you look at what Monster Hunter does compared to what they've shown so far with this game here, it does feel like a little bit like it's not quite the same, just more like in structure, but how you play the game is going to be a bit different. So I'm thinking it's going to be a mix of a Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and a Monster Hunter. I think that's going to be kind of the mix for the game when it comes to the structure of it and how it will feel once you get out there, just because the air areas that you see in this game are just far more open than what we've seen in a Monster Hunter game, you know, when it comes to Monster Hunter Rise at least, or some of the Monster Hunter games. Although there are open areas, especially with the past games, it definitely seems smaller than what this game is offering, and kind of what you can do with like the water and kind of going through there, and also like flying through the skies. I mean, you need open-ended areas for stuff like that for the most part. So I do feel that it's going to still be a good experience, but I was wrong on that one. But we're going to have to wait and see how it plays out. Will it hinder the experience? Will it not be as good? But it's something that the Pokemon Company never actually stated. They never stated the game was going to be open world. They just stated that here's the game. Like they just said, here's the game, but they never commented on the structure. But it was good that they actually clarified it, you know, so if some people don't want to play the game because of it, they don't have to. And if other people want to play, they can still play. But I think that this game is still going to do extremely well based off of what we've seen so far. I think that it's taking the Pokemon franchise in a good direction. It's not perfect at this point, but I still feel that it's taking it in a good direction, and we could see some good stuff coming from it in the future. But I'm looking forward to Pokemon Legends Arceus myself. So what are your thoughts when it comes to the different topics here with Metroid Dread and the sales, and also Pokemon Legends Arceus and the structure of the game? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button. Also subscribe if you're someone new, and hit that notification bell to get my videos first. And we'll see you for the next video. Peace.